What happens if you inadvertently over-contribute to your 401k? And what ways, like how could that even happen so that you can be on the lookout for it, prevent it, and fix it if it does? I got that and more coming up. My name is Mike Bernard. I am the host of the Wise Money Show. I'm also one of the certified financial planners right here at Korhorn Financial Group. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and smash that thumbs up button. So a friend of mine reached out to me a couple weeks ago now and said he was dealing with an issue with his employer where he was notified that he actually over-contributed to his 401k inadvertently. Didn't plan on it, wasn't trying to sneak one past the goalie, but was notified, hey, this happened, and it's just been a train wreck. He shared to fix it, and thankfully he's working with some folks on our team. But he said, hey, Mike, you should do a video about this. I think there's a few ways that this could actually happen. We got to point that out to some folks. And so, Justin, I'm actually going to share your thoughts and your experience, but I'm going to add on to it because there's actually more ways that this could actually happen. And I want to help you guys all be aware of it and prevent it. So I would say the first way that you could accidentally or inadvertently contribute too much to your 401k is your employer didn't automatically stop your contributions at the limit. The limit, if you're younger than age 50, is $19,500 for this year. If you're 50 or older, it's $26,000. Obviously, you can't contribute more than you make, but those are the limits. And for most people, you set up your contribution percentage, whether it's 10%, whether it's 15%, like we recommend, if it's 12%, whatever it is, and you just set that up and that automatically happens. And I mean, we're in a technological age. I mean, no one's filling out a physical, your employer is not handwriting a check to you these days. Everything is online, and those limits that I just shared should be within the payroll software of your employer. And so if you inadvertently over-contributed, I would say one of the main reasons is your employer should have had an automatic shut-off button, and they didn't. They didn't. And a friend of mine shared, when this happened to him, I mean, it could have been a result of a few different reasons. For many people, you're contributing the same amount, but you got a pay increase. And so if you got a pay increase, you're contributing a certain amount, that could lead to you hitting that maximum. And again, if your employer doesn't shut it off, then you're going to over-contribute. What about if you have an automatic increase on your contribution limit? Say you're contributing 8% and automatically it's going to move to 9%. Now you guys know I want you to increase it by 1%, if not 2% every single year until you hit that max. But if you set that up automatically and that causes you to over-contribute, and again, your company doesn't automatically stop you at the limit, that could create a problem. And then the final way that if your employer doesn't just shut it off, it could cause an over-contribution is if you get some sort of annual bonus or maybe a quarterly bonus. Or I know right now we've got supply chain issues, we've got employment issues. It's possible you might be working extra hours or doing more than normal, and your employer might give you an out of the blue discretionary bonus. If you're contributing to your 401k on that could push you above the limit. So to me, the very first way that you could get and contribute too much to your 401k is, to me, all a function of your employer doesn't automatically cap you at the $19,500 or $26,000 limit. The way to prevent this, be looking at your pay stub. Be working with your certified financial planner, having them do a tax projection, tax analysis for you. And even though I will tell you, for us, I mean, 99 out of 100 employers have an automatic switch where they shut you off. So even if we're doing a pay stub projection or tax projection, we'll show you and we'll probably discuss, hey, looks like you're going to max your 401k in October or whatever. And then you can be aware, yeah, if I didn't see my paycheck drop, or excuse me, my take-home pay increase because my 401k dropped, then I know my employer is still withholding, and I'm going to have an issue here. Another issue you need to be aware of with that shut-off is potentially losing out on some employer match. If your employer is just matching steadily every paycheck up to a certain percent, and you reach that match early in the year, or that maximum to the 401k contribution early in the year, and you're not contributing for the last couple of paychecks, they might not be matching. those last couple of paychecks. Again, most employers have an automatic provision where at the end of the year when they do their analysis on the 401k, they look and say, did you contribute in total enough to meet the full match, and then did you receive the full match? If you didn't, they then true it up at that point. But again, some employers don't have that automatic catch-all feature. To me, the biggest reason why you might over-contribute inadvertently to your 401k is not because of that first issue, because again, most employers have that shut-off valve. To me, the biggest reason and most likely reason is you switched employers. You changed jobs during the year. You were contributing. Think about this. Think about this. You worked 6 months at one company and then you switched jobs and worked 6 months at a different company. Well, your first 6 months you were earning something, okay, and you were saving 10%, and that allowed you to contribute X amount into their 401k. But you switched jobs and you're making more, okay? That's one reason to switch jobs. And you still contribute, say 10% or whatever that same percentage is, but now it's of a higher number. And when it comes to the end of the year, you contributed more with this with your second employer, and when you go to file your taxes, you're showing that, yep, I contributed $18,000 over here with this company, and I contributed $7,000 over here with this company, and I'm only 46 years old. So my limit total is $19,500. That's a problem. Not allowed to do that. That's going to be a big, big mess on your tax return. You're not allowed to over-contribute even if you switched employers. So that, to me, that's the more likely and the more common way that you could inadvertently over-contribute to a 401k. So how do you prevent this? If you switch employers, you've got to look to say, okay, at my old job, look at my last pay stub, how much total did I contribute to my 401k? And then you just monitor that or set up your contribution percentage so that with a new employer, you don't over-contribute. And then set yourself a reminder for 1/1 of the next year to set your contribution levels at a good rate, because obviously once you get into the new year, that previous job, that old employer impacted last year, it's not going to impact this year. And so work with your certified financial planner on that. That can get a little complicated. We see that a lot. Sort of an honorable mention with this second point is if you happen to be working two jobs that both have 401ks, or maybe one has a 401k, one has a 403b, your limit for all 401k contributions is that $19,500. Even if you have multiple plans available to you, you're working multiple jobs. $19,500 if you're younger than age 50, and $26,000 if you're age 50 or older, even if you have multiple 401ks available to you. And the final way that you could inadvertently over-contribute to the 401k you're really not going to like, and I hate it, and that is you have an outdated 401k plan. And I'm not talking about you, like you did something wrong. I'm talking your employer has an outdated 401k plan. What am I talking about? These days, if you're an employer and you're opening a 401k plan, 9 times out of 10, you're going to open a safe harbor 401k plan, which means safe harbor, you're going to follow certain rules about matching, investing, and so on. It makes your cost as an employer really, really easy, really low, but then it also allows anyone in the company, no matter what they earn, as long as they're eligible, they can contribute up to those IRS limits. That's a safe harbor plan. If you have an old 401k, or if you for whatever reason your employer looks and is like, yeah, we don't want to do safe harbor for whatever reason, most likely your employer just has an outdated plan, then you are limited in how much you can contribute, sometimes below that IRS limit, $19,500 or $26,000. If you're the most common situation is if you're a highly compensated individual, which those numbers haven't really changed much over the years, so more and more people are being considered highly compensated, then there's a testing that's done that looks at, okay, the average non-highly compensated employee, what are they contributing to the 401k? Oh, they're only doing 5%? Well, then highly compensated individuals or executives, you're only allowed to do 2% more than the average employee. So if the average employee is only doing 5, you're only allowed to do 7. And what that means, what we see is a lot of folks, they max out their 401k contribution, then they get this notice, this love letter from the 401k company, sometimes around February or March, that says, you overcontributed, your limit was actually, 7%, and therefore that was only $17,000, so here's money back. And now you receive that money back. It's taxable in the year that you receive it now. You don't have to amend your taxes, but they don't withhold appropriately on those for taxes, so it can create a tax surprise. You've got less set aside for retirement. It can be a big mess, okay? So that's the third reason. There's not a great way around it other than working with your employer and saying, listen, can we fix this? Can we change this? Obviously, you want a retirement plan that can work for all employees. You don't want one that can work for non-highly compensated individuals, but doesn't work for highly compensated individuals. You want it to be workable for everyone. So work with your employer. Hopefully they can adapt and shift to a safe harbor 401k plan. So, all right, those are the details, how you could inadvertently overcontribute to your 401k and what to do about it. It can get complicated. Work with your CFP, who's also doing tax planning for you, since this intersects and works with both. So work with your CFP on that. If you don't have a CFP on your team, you can contact one on my team. Find us online, corehorn.com. That's Corehorn with a K, wisemoneyshow.com. You can find us there, or send us an email, info@corehorn.com. All right, there you have it. Go out and take your next wise step in your financial life.